So I'm out at the property right now, doing a little walking around, probably going to look for some deer sign. And this week I've been thinking about a video. There's so many sounds. I've been thinking about doing a video, kind of going into some hunting stuff. You know, we're getting into hunting season pretty heavy for deer especially. And one thing that I've thought about is, should you buy a specific hunting rifle? Should you go out and buy something you know you can shoot deer with? And I'll say straight off, first of all, it depends, right? It's the answer that everybody hates, but everybody kind of gets at some point with certain things. Now there are there is my opinion. Personally, I don't think it's necessary, nor is it the best option if you are a Minuteman type guy, if you are a prepared citizen, to go out and spend the money on a specific deer rifle or a rifle that you may take bigger game with. So another factor you got to consider is weight. Yes, a hunting rifle is lighter, but where does it sacrifice the weight at? It sacrifices the weight in the barrel. Now, obviously, you don't really need a bull barrel. You don't need a super heavy, thick barrel for your designated marksman rifle or your not designated marksman rifle. You don't really need a super heavyweight barrel for your long-range precision rifle, or just simply a long-range rifle, something you can shoot farther distances with higher ballistic efficiency at. So it's another fact you got to consider. So right now what I'm gonna do is basically just kind of go through the list. I've kind of got like three major things, not including those first two, because those two things are not as important as the rest of them, but it's really something that I do think about, and I've got about 3 good reasons why you probably should not build out a specific hunting rifle if you haven't got one already. So the first main reason is going to be that we should always, as prepared citizens, as Minutemen, as anybody in this camp, this category, we should always probably prioritize whatever general box-fed intermediate cartridge weapon that we have. That being in the US, obviously, 5.56 rifle. So your 5.56 AR-15, for instance, you should be generally putting as much money into building out the best weapon you can afford for a general main squeeze fighting rifle, whatever you want to call it, that you would pick up no matter what in any situation if you need a gun. The amount of money that it would cost to set up the rifle for a specific deer rifle, you could put into buying a better optic, you could put into buying more ammunition, more magazines, getting a nicer barrel, things like that. I think that they should be prioritized towards your main fighting weapon. Now, that being said, and we'll get to the exceptions lastly, or say I'll get to the exceptions later. The second thing is that if you do have a 5.56 rifle, if you choose the correct ammunition and you're shooting within 100 to 200 meters, I would say, and you are capable of it, you are going to be fine with using this as a deer rifle. 5.56 is more than capable of taking down a medium-sized game animal. That being said, you have to make the correct ammo choice. So my main ammo choice that I've been using lately for all of my stuff's been 77 OTMs. I got the AAC stuff. It's a very decently priced round that is easy to get a hold of, has a higher ballistic capability. When it comes to actually hitting targets farther, it is inherently more accurate because of the bullet design, and also it is 77 grain as opposed to 55, so you're going to have a higher energy output even at longer distances, so you will have a higher energy compared to a zipping 5.56 55 grain round. But for this year, I went ahead and bought some tipped Match Kings because the best bullet design you're going to get is going to be one of two things. you're either going to go for some sort of monolithic copper bullet, or some sort of round that is monolithic, that is designed to expand and have as much energy dump on target as possible, or you're going to go for something that would, of course, those rounds that I just suggested being newer rounds, very, very expensive rounds sometimes, or going with old reliables. Since you're shooting a 5.56, you could use a 2.23 soft point, or you could use a 5.56 round. You go for a 62 grain hollow point, or a 69 grain hollow point, or a 77 grain tip match king, some sort of hollow point ammunition, or a tipped round that is designed to expand upon impact. That's the big thing. You want to expand and dump energy on impact the same exact way you would choose a specific defensive load. I still choose 77 grain because it's the thing that I can shoot the most of, get a lot of practice on, and it still works really well even in defensive situations, but it's also not the absolute best. 77 OTMs are not as good when it comes to ballistic efficiency, when it internal ballistics, compared to a 77 grain tip match king. Now, the third thing that I would say is, if you are dead set on buying a rifle that you want to shoot deer with, I think that it would make much more sense to go ahead and figure out what you would set up for a long range or precision style weapon. Now, you don't have to have a chassis gun. You don't have to have the most crazy stock, the most crazy optic. Simply put, a 308 or 6.5 rifle with a little bit heavier weight barrel that can withstand more heat and more ammunition being fired out of it than a hunting rifle, and some sort of scope with a mill reticle. If you have all three of those things, then you have a decent setup to do long range and hunting with. Because obviously, like I said, even with a heavier rifle, if you're walking 100 yards to a stand, it's not going to matter. The weight's not going to be a problem. And if it is a problem, you need to get in the gym more often, because if you can't walk 100 meters to a deer stand with a rifle that weighs maybe 1.5 pounds to 2 more pounds because of barrel weight, then you need to be stronger, you need to be faster, you need to be more fit. So that's kind of going forward. It kind of goes back to the whole reason that you want to put all your money into your main fighting weapon. If we're going to be concerned about preparing to defend ourselves, and more importantly, our family and our loved ones, then we shouldn't be emphasizing and putting more money into the toys or hobby items. Hobby items is a much better way of saying it. Things that are not specifically Second Amendment related items, because we understand the Second Amendment is not about hunting. But nonetheless, having other items, 22 pistols and rifles, shotguns, larger bore rifles that you may end up, if you are someone who loves to hunt and you want to go out and do an elk hunt in Colorado, you're not gonna bring your 5.56. You're gonna need a lighter weight 7mm odd 8, 270, 30 or 300 Win Mag, some sort of elk cartridge. Yes, 270 can be an elk cartridge. Heavyweight bullets, very, very fast speed. I've been doing a lot of research, and that's one thing people always say 270 is like just a deer round. 270 is a really, really cool round. I really like it, and I wish it was more of a military style round, because it'd be great for a long range precision, or a long range, not precision, long range rifle. Now, there are a few considerations that you do have to make, and it depends on where you live at, right? If you live in a state where you cannot hunt with centerfire rounds that are less than 25 caliber, then you're going to have to figure out what round you're going to use. But what's great about ARs is your upper options. You can have a 5.56 AR upper, and if you really want to go deer hunting with it, and you cannot hunt with a bottleneck 25 caliber or lower cartridge in your state, and you want to go hunting, you can grab a straight wall cartridge upper, so say like a 350 Legend or a 450 Bushmaster upper for this rifle, and now you have a deer gun without having to buy an entire new weapon system. You can have a deer gun, and you just set it up like a normal rifle would be. In knowing that those rounds don't have as much long range capability, you can set it up with something like a 3-power or 4-power primary or prism optic or something like that, as opposed to a super nice scope and mount. Another option, if you want to go that route, would also be a 300 Blackout. If you were already planning on getting a 300 Blackout so that you could have some sort of easily suppressible, shorter barrel upper that has a decent amount of energy that you can put out, a 300 Blackout makes sense. Go for like the 110s and 125 grain Hornady rounds, the Varmint rounds, the AMAX, the VMAX, things like that. Be really, it would be great for deer. I have not killed deer with subsonic rounds, but the idea of doing so to me, unless you're guaranteed to shoot less than 50 meters and you got a really good sub round, I'd probably stick with supers just to be safe, because they're gonna have more energy downrange than a sub would. That's what you want with an animal. You want to put it down as quickly as possible and as humanely as possible. So I think that'll wrap up the video for today. I want to thank you guys for watching. Be on the lookout this deer season. I will be making some videos of hunting. We may not be successful, but it'll be fun to have some videos doing some hunting stuff. We're going to do winter fishing. We're going to do hunting videos. We're going to do some shooting in the snow, or if it does snow, hopefully it does, Lord willing. Videos in the snow, videos of ice, videos of some winter rucks, maybe even some camping videos. Who knows? I'll put out some stuff this year that may be different. I'm trying to put as much effort into this as possible, in really hoping that the fact that I enjoy this and the fact that I love making these videos, it keeps up. I'm very appreciative of what I have, though, and I appreciate every single person that watches these videos. It's a blessing. You guys, I'm surprised you enjoy it at all. Sometimes the videos I'm like, oh, this probably is not that bad, and other times like, I don't know why I posted that, but nevertheless, thank you all for watching. Thank you for the subscriptions. Thank you for liking the videos. Thank you for the comments. As always, go to church on Sunday. Praise the Lord. Thank Him for all He does for us. Thank you most of all for Christ, who was sent to save the lost. And yeah, that's it for the video. Have a good week.